For this next foot exercise, the focus isn't so much on rotating the shins and shaping the foot or shaping the front of the foot, it's actually on the heels. And the heels consist of two bones, the calcaneus and talus. Can't remember which one's on top. But at any rate, what's more important here is for you to feel the sides of the ankle, the heel bones, one on top of the other. And then the exercise is simple. So instead of focusing on the front of the feet and rotating the shins, it's simply on focusing on the heels and trying to straighten the heels. So you're trying to stack the bottom, the shin bone, the main shin bone, the middle bone, and the bottom bone all on top of each other. And what you'll feel is tension either side of the ankle. So it can be a simple relaxation, and then gradually try to straighten or stack the heel bones and then relax. Now from the front, what you'll notice, what you may see in me, when I'm focusing on stacking the heel bones, the base of my big toe presses down automatically, and I could try. Actually, if I concentrate on keeping the base of the big toe, this part right here, relaxed, so I'm not activating along here, I'm trying to keep that relaxed. And then if I focus on stacking the heel bones, what happens is the inside edge of my foot naturally lifts. So what you could do to combine that with the previous exercise, instead of focusing on the front of the feet and the ankles and rolling the shins out and then in, you could combine the two exercises and focus on the heel. So try to stack the heel bones. So again, keep the inner foot relaxed, stack the heel bones slowly and smoothly. You may notice my knees are bent here, and then relax. Try to stack the heel bones. So if I do one foot at a time, if I stack this heel bone, my knee automatically points to the front. And then if I stack this one, trying to create even tension both sides of the ankle, and my knees point straight ahead. And what happens here now is the inside edge and the outside edge of my foot have even tension. So you can try that in isolation. Then you can try deliberately pressing, so try shifting to one side. So stack your heel bones, then slowly shift to one side. And as you shift to one side, actively press the base of the big foot down. Try to find minimum tension, so don't try and drill it into the floor. Find just enough tension to press it comfortably into the floor. Then as you lift the other foot, if you want to lift the other foot, then increase the tension as you need to, so that you keep the shape of the heel and the foot while lifting the other foot. Your whole upper body can be still while doing that. Then put the foot down, relax, and this knee is bent, and then shift to the other side. So do that from the side view. I'm going to stack this heel bone. And I can't help but notice that the base of my big toe is automatically pressing down a little bit all well. So I'll stack the heel bone, I'll let the base of my big toe press down, then I'll shift to the side. I'll keep my foot active, and then I'll press down through the base of the big toe even more as I try to lift the other foot. And what may happen, depending how much tension you apply to the base of the big toe, so I'm shifted to one side. So here I'll stack my heels. What may happen, there may be a slight inflection of the knee. The knee may slightly move inwards. I would suggest that's all right. But notice what happens. Notice the sensation along the inner knee, perhaps the outer knee, as you lift the foot. Notice, are you keeping the heel bone stacked? Also notice the tension in the base of the big toe. One thing to be aware of with these exercises, and you can practice that previous heel stacking exercise both with the knee bent. You can try it again with the knees straight. So try and stack the heels. That's a little bit different. Here it feels like my toes, the base of my big toe is easier to keep relaxed and relaxed. Stack the heel bones, relax, stack the heel bones, shift to one foot. And actually what's happened here my weight is back. I'm actually balanced more on my heels, so the fronts of my feet can lift. So rotate, stack the heel bones, create tension either side of the ankle, and then shift to one side. And here, because my weight is even on my heel, I don't have to press down through the base of my big toe that much. So that's something else to be aware of when you're doing this exercise, is if you do it with the knees bent, So automatically with my knees bent, my weight moves forward. So I'm going to try with my weight back over my heels. There I'm going to stack my heels. There at the base of my inner toe still feels light on the floor, like it's not pressing down. So from the front, here it is with my weight shifted back. I'm going to roll my shins out. So I'm going to stack my heels, I should say. And my toes are remaining light on the floor. If I shift to one side and the weight is still on my heel, I can lift. All I'm doing is keeping my heel stable, my heel bone stacked, and I'm not pressing down through the base of my big toe. So what I was going to say earlier, when doing these exercises, the goal isn't to maintain tension at all times. It's rather learn to feel the difference between when your feet are relaxed, when the front of your feet are relaxed, when your shins are rolled inwards, and when your heels are relaxed, unstacked. But also learn to feel when you stack your heels, recognize the feeling of tension either side of the ankle. So right along here, both behind the malleosis and in front right here. So learn to recognize those feelings of tension so that you can create them at will and so you can relax them at will. Likewise, when pressing down through the base of the big toe, recognize the tension that you create in your foot to create that action, and then also learn to turn it off at will. Why? Because I don't think your feet are supposed to remain stiff at all times. They're mobile. They've got all those bones so that they can move and take different shapes. But when you're doing yoga, if you're doing squats or back bends or whatever, any position, you may find it advantageous to be able to change the shape of your feet. Why? By changing the shape of the feet, you change the direction of the knees pointing. You might allow the knees to point in, you might allow the knees to point out. I'm not saying that the ideal is to maintain the knees pointing in the same direction as the toes at all times. The more aware you are of your body, the more you can try different positions to see which position, depending on the overall pose that you're doing, which position feels best for your knees, for your hips, without creating any excessive tension or any feeling of tearing or ripping apart or whatever, any discomfort. What position feels best? What allows you to use your muscles in the best way possible to do that pose with the minimum effort while still keeping all of your joints in a healthy condition that'll last a lifetime. So continuing with the heel stacking exercise, one thing to be aware of, if you're walking, for myself, what I find is when I stack the heels, when I activate the feet, what it feels is like my heel bone is slightly slanted. So when I stack my heels, it feels like I'm riding on the outside edge of my heel. And I don't know if that's supposed to be like that. That's something you can play with. It's stacking your heels. You may notice that you're riding on the outside edge of your heel. Then if you relax, you might find that you can find a position where your heel bone, your bottom heel bone feels flat on the floor. But in that position, because I have tension in my hips, it feels like it's affecting the inside of my knees. So if I relax the hips, that feels better on my knees. And I'm not saying this is a good position or a bad position. The more you practice, so once you have a feeling for controlling your heel bones, being able to stack them, then perhaps relaxing to the point where you can feel your heel bone, the bottom of your heel bone flat on the floor, then you can notice the other joints, notice your knees and your hips. If your knees feel uncomfortable, instead of just adjusting your feet, maybe notice any tension in your hip joints and see if relaxing that tension makes your knees feel better. So whenever the knees are in question, you can focus on one thing. You can control the feet, so control the feet and relax the hips. But the other thing you can do is control the hips, and if your knees feel uncomfortable, relax the feet so that the tension in your knees is more balanced so that there is no discomfort. And one final exercise. So one of the previous exercises with the deliberately rolling the shins out, one of the exercises was doing it with the heel lifted. So for that exercise, the exercise was to shift to one foot, shift your weight forward so the toes and the front of the foot have equal pressure, and then lift the heel. Now for this exercise too, what you could do, instead of focusing on the front of the foot, you could focus on the heel. So with your weight shifted to one leg, weight shifted forward, heel lifted, you could try stacking the heel bones. Even though they're not on the floor, what you can do is focus on the feeling of tension on either side of the ankle. Try to make that roughly equivalent, and then lift the other foot and balance. And right now I feel my toes are pressing down with a little less pressure So what I can do is shift my weight slightly forward so that my toes have more pressure, so it's easier to stay balanced. Lower the heel down, shift your weight back, shift to the other side. And you can play around with it. Try stacking your heel first, then rocking forward and then lifting your heel, keeping the heel bone stacked, lift the other foot. Or you can do it, first shift your weight forward, then, shift your weight to the side, then shift your weight forward, then lift the heel, and then with the heel lifted, try stacking the heel bones. Try both options, practice both options so that you can do both equally well, and then lift the other foot while staying balanced on the other foot with the heel lifted. Someone asked me a question about they had flat foot. I don't know if they have flat feet or collapsed arches. Is it safe to do squats or one-legged squats with flat feet? What I'd suggest the first goal is learn first how to feel and control your feet, and then feel and control your knees and your hips. Make sure you can feel them, recognize any sense of discomfort, and correct for those feelings of discomfort. And then with that awareness, you can work towards doing squats or one-legged squats with relative impunity. This is not to say just doing them, but doing them while feeling your feet. Are you keeping your feet active? Do they need to be active? Do they need to be relaxed? Does the front of the feet need to be active? Do the heels need to be active? Do the hips need to be relaxed or active? And in what way do they need to be relaxed? There's a lot of stuff going on. But at any rate, if you can at least keep the feet active, and if you can move slowly and smoothly with control, doing squats, doing one-legged squats, then it should be, I'd say you maximize your chances of being able to do squats without messing any of your joints up. But the key is, if you feel pain, change what you're doing or change the way that you're doing it so that there is no pain. What there is instead is a feeling of light tension that gives you sort of like a feel for your body. There's no slack spots, no sense of emptiness, but there's enough tension in your feet, your knees, and your hips that it gives a good feeling so that you can easily control all of those joints without too much tension or without any discomfort. Hope that helps. If you have any questions, please use the comment form on my website, sensationalyogaposes.com. Thank you very much for watching. Namaste.